Greetings once again, Psychonauts. Welcome to the Shed Talk, everyone's favourite format. Hey, Charlie! Charlie, come over here! Charlie, get here, my son. He's gonna come. He's not had a special feature in a bit. Come here, Pit. No. Oh, maybe not today, camera shy. Right, let's get straight into it before I forget what I'm on about. So, I basically, a few months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, it's something I've been wrapping my head around for ages, haven't I, Charles? It's really derailed my perception of existence. So, I had the deepest dream I've ever had in my entire life. More visceral than any psychedelic trip I've ever had, within reason. Probably because it completely shattered my idea of how reality sort of works. The infinite recursive nature of life, and how death is really genuinely like an illusory thing, like a concept that we're spinning up to ground ourselves in the thick of it, the thick of what this is, to construct a reality that has stakes and etc. A steak dinner, our lad. So it began, and let's just say the dream was as real as this entire space here. It was literally like my cone of perception right now, and it started off, and let me tell you, I have a serious dream recall ability somehow, as I've taken psychedelics over the years and understood more about consciousness and life and this fucking illusory thing we call the third dimension. My dreams have gotten deeper and deeper and deeper, and I've been able to recall them without. I don't use any lucid dream techniques, or I don't use the dream journal. I don't take any supplements. I don't really consciously try and have deep dreams. They just seem to happen to me. Yeah, it's crazy, really quite crazy. I think if I actually put a lot of effort in and tried to scribe them down and do all this dream journaling shit, I'd be able to. I'll probably get stuck in the dream like Inception or something. So I started off, me and my mate Cam and Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria. Don't ask me why she was there, I still can't figure it out. We were in basically a Resident Evil type scenario. We were in a mansion, and it was like many sort of mansions I've been to throughout my life, except it was the structure of Resident Evil. We were basically like Chris, Jill, and my mate Cam was Barry. We were just getting chased around by, if you've ever seen the Resident Evil 4 the beta footage, there was this guy called like the Hooked Man or something. He had a hook for a hand, the slinging slasher or something like that, and he was basically following us around, and we're just trailing around this mansion, and there was no fear or anything. It felt like I was actually a character in Resident Evil, that just like proper gung-ho and everything, proper tackling whatever was coming on. And like how dreams usually operate, and or at least how mine operate, it's a bit like Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, the film, or a Lynchian sort of feel to it, where you just walk. I'll walk out the door and then I'll go around the corner, and then it's a completely different environment, but there's no questioning of the function of how the environment fluctuates in the dream world. It's seen as a sense as like, it makes as much sense as like this three-dimensional human existence does. So we're going around Resident Evil sort of mansion, this guy's sort of tailing us, we're shooting like zombie-like creatures, and then basically the dream just sort of, we just go through a door, you know, like how in Resident Evil they open the door and then it sort of loads the next area, go through that, and basically I wake up on a field, and this is just basically as visceral as real life, like 100%, or as obviously like my memory of it is as visceral as, say, my memory of what I had to eat yesterday, pretty much. That's how I'd describe it. And this was 4 months ago, and I can remember it literally like some of my most distinct memories throughout my whole life. And this was not aided by any. I hadn't tripped at all. I hadn't done anything beforehand to trigger this super surreal dream. It just happened to me, and So wake up on a field in sort of like an American high school setting, a bit like American Pie, the sort of 2000. A lot of the stuff that I ended up dreaming of was just things that are in my subconscious, and things I obviously gravitate towards, and memories of and my mates and everything were in it, who I won't name, but literally majority of them featured as like background characters. I could literally remember their exact faces. But my mate Cam, who was originally Barry in the Resident, he was like a Barry type. Person from Resident Evil. If you don't know what Resident Evil is, you could probably gonna have to look it up yourself. But if you played him, you know what them sort of characters are like. I was like Chris, Sydney Sweeney was Jill, and Cam was Barry. So right, moving on. Wake up on this field, and it was like a American football field or something. There was loads of jocks and like the classic cliques that you see in these 2000s high school American shows and films, which I just love. I've got a massive affinity for them. I find them really endearing, and always have done. When I was a child, I always used to have a fantasy of growing up in an American school, because I've always felt alienated. I always felt alienated in primary school and high school. I was like, I don't really belong. I don't really fit into the classic British stereotypical youth sort of persona, and also super autistic and ADHD or whatever the hell I've got. I just felt I'd fit more over there. So that was a theme that was running throughout the dream. So I woke up on this. So I had a dream of the Resident Evil scenario. When I woke up on that field, it was like, oh, my dream self was like, oh, I just had a dream, and this is the reality. So it kept happening a bit like that, a bit sort of like Inception, like layers to the dream. And Sydney Sweeney was there again, and she was like skateboarding. But she was like skateboarding away from me. She wouldn't talk to me. Obviously, I probably fancy her a little bit. To be fair, that would explain it. And I kept asking Cam. I was like, "Oh, what's up with her? What's wrong with her? Why is she not speaking to me?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I think you've probably pissed her off in some way, but no one knows why. But everyone reckons you've done something." They were talking about this. I can't remember the exact dialogue, but I just got the gist of it. Just about how you don't really remember exactly what you might have said to your mate last week. It was exactly like that. Exactly like that. So I go to class and everything. I'm doing all it was like a proper pop punky vibe. Just all like these the little Buffy the Vampire Slayer sort of aura going on. And I was literally going through the day of school, and then my uncle in the dream, who I've never even, this is just someone I've never even met. It's probably just some random person I've met on the street. He wasn't actually a relative of mine in this reality. It was like a unique dream character. Unfortunately, you weren't in it, Charlie, so what does that say about you, my lad? He doesn't have the capability to enter the dream. So my uncle and auntie picked me up, and then they started taking me around a very warped area of where I live in the northwest of England. Everything had like everything had like crystal and crystalline structures around it. Felt like we were in like Seath the Scaleless's lair from Dark Souls, except a lot more vegetation, and there was just like weird crystalline animals wandering around, and it was completely normal. And I remember exactly what they looked like. It was literally like something an AI would produce nowadays. You've got you said like merge a giraffe with some like a quartz type material, and it was literally like that, and there's all these animals and they're wandering around. It was just literally just a giant zoo roundabouts where I was living. And then we went to go, and then I saw my mate. He was in this house. They were just driving me about, and I was filling him in about my day at school and saying, oh, Sydney, I don't think you just called Sydney in the dream. That's one thing I can't remember, but it was her. It literally was her exact like physique and aura and energy, etc. And I was filling him in on my day and all my woes, and how I had that weird dream about the being in sort of Resident Evil and that, and they were laughing and giggling. And then they took me around the corner from where I live literally right now, opposite. It was inside some weird dreamlike had this weird dreamlike feel with all crystals everywhere. Everything was glimmering and proper psychedelic, kaleidoscopic and that, and I just took it as normal. I was filling him in on my day, and I was waving at all my mates going past the houses. My other mate called Cam, he was in this house that was sort of like, it wasn't connected to the ground. It was like there was this white like void between the bottom of the house and the floor, and he was like cooking a barbecue and flinging sausages in the air and just waving at me. And I even remember saying like, oh, we should go and visit Cam Cam 2 later on and have a barbecue, and they were like, oh yeah, that's great, Vivec, or I mean whatever my name was in the dream, probably my real name to be fair. So then is where the dream gets really, really weird, and where it becomes like, oh my god, this was like a genuine 100% visceral this memory I have of the end of the dream. I remember more solidly than the most memorable moments of my entire life. Genuinely, actually, completely mind-boggling for me. So we're driving back to like my house, which funnily enough it was like a twisted version of the last house I used to live in, which is just around the corner. And we're going up this hill, because it was like up a hill and everything, and we were going round, but it just kept like spiraling around this mountain, and as we got up further there was more animals, and it was like it's like going to like Knowles Safari Park or whatever it is, you know them safari parks that you can drive around and then there's animals just wandering. It's not like a traditional zoo, it's like the animals literally just wander about and they can come up to the car. It's like that, but they were all really crystalline and alien-like and bizarre, and these gorillas were like freaking me out, because I was like, oh whoa, they've got a bit more of an autonomous nature than say like a fucking marmoset or something. They could just come over to the car and start murking us. So I insisted to my auntie and uncle like, oh, can we just like speed up a bit? I'm starting to freak out. So they did, and they agreed to. But then they started getting into an argument for some reason, and my uncle kept looking at my auntie like he stopped focusing on the road ahead, and I started like sweating, and I was like, oh my god, what do I say? But I started going into anxiety mode, where like I started having like getting tachycardia in the dream, and I couldn't speak, and I was choking up. And we were getting closer and closer and closer to my house, and instead of going into the driveway, we went past the house, and then we went down the road. Started going down, and the car was getting faster and faster and faster. He wasn't putting the brakes on. He was arguing with his wife so much, my auntie, and then, before you know it, this was where I remember, this is the most visceral memory of my entire existence as a consciousness. So we swerve off the side of the mountain, go down it, and yeah, the car goes into free fall from this huge mountain like bigger than Mount Everest or whatever, and we're literally in the car falling, and I'm having all these thoughts about, oh my god, what's going to happen? We're going to die. How the hell do we make it out of it? Oh wait, maybe we'll get to the bottom and the car will be alright. Like literally just try to reason with what's going on to ensure my survival. And you know what? The closer we get to the bottom, as we're about to die, my vision is engulfed by a white light, and its time starts to slow down as I'm still literally feeling the sensation of falling, and I'm engulfed by a white light, and I become a pure void of infinite nothingness. But it's also white, literally just white, like there's no perception, like bubble of cone of perception. It's like it's all around me, like it's like I could see the back of my head and everything's just white. And you know what happens then? I rise out of my bed in this this existence right now, the third dimension, whatever we want to call it, my normal waking reality. And I tell you what really blagged my head about it, proper sent me west, was I never sleep on my back at all. And like it was like a rose out of bed from my back, and as the white light dissipated, my cone of perception emerged here, and I constructed reality from that white light. And you know what I mean? Immediately I got up and I just started crying, because it was like the closest I've ever been able to fathom what sort of like death might be. Just literally just void, like infinite nothingness, but also infinite potential to then create another reality. That's what it felt like to me. And I literally just got up and I was just gobsmacked. My mouth was on the floor. I just could not wrap my head around it, because it was genuinely just felt like I died, and I had all the thoughts that one might have when they're faced with death, falling down that mountain. Mate, it's just, I just can't get my head around it. It's just so bizarre. Deepest dream I've ever had, and more insane than any trip I've ever been on, within reason. The 4-ACO DMT becoming a galaxy brain was definitely something else, and the Kundalini awakening one was also one as well. But the fact that this wasn't catalysed by any sort of substance or tool, and it just came from a dream, was really quite bizarre. It was literally just waking up in one reality and back into another. It was like Resident Evil reality, high school reality, and then the rest of the existence within that sort of realm, and then dying in that, and then coming back here. Mad, really quite mad. And now, ever since then, my dreams, I can recall them like that. I can recall my dream last night. Me and a bunch of people in Spain had a little ferret that was guiding us, funnily enough, across a mountain. I've obviously got some weird, maybe got a fear of heights, although I don't actually. I'm always going up mountains. So, I don't know, maybe it's the love of it. Maybe I want to go higher up these mountains and challenge myself more. And it was literally just like, steep ass drop down there, bad. And we just kept shuffling across the side of it, and it was completely visceral. It was like it was like being in MGS5, you know, when you go to like Africa, and everything looked like that. Everything looked like had like video game textures. Then the next minute, I'm in like Harry Potter for PS1 graphics, and literally Harry Potter's there, and we're in this sort of like weird sort of like Final Fantasy, like, you know, in Final Fantasy games, is usually they go to like some Costa del Sol sort of environment, like Final Fantasy VII, they go to Costa del Sol or whatever. It's really like funky and Mediterranean, but with a bit of a Japanese flavour. It's literally like that. But I don't remember the exact narrative of what was going on there, just loads of weird shit. And then a tsunami came and happened. But that's just scattered dreams. But that one, the one I just told you about, that was a very that I had a full sense of existing in that dream as solidly as I do in this one now. So just want to tell you about that. If you like hearing about my crazy dreams, let me know, because they often happen every other few weeks, and maybe I should start writing them down and get even deeper into them. Very bizarre. I have some very weird. My relationship with sleep and dreaming has always been quite weird. So I get sleep paralysis like every other few weeks, and there's some mad stuff happens there. Like I literally hear like people speaking to me in my ears, and I always have this sensation of someone running up my stairs and they bang it really hard on the door, and I always end up waking myself up because it freaks me the fuck out. But I know if I just hold on and let it go, I bet I'd go into some form of lucid dream. Wouldn't I, Charles? You have no idea how weird it is to be a human, dear. He doesn't care, and he never has. But we still love him. Yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this break from the usual psychedelic sort of mystical content, but I think it ties in anyway. I love talking about dreams, negative experiences, aliens and psychedelics and mysticism. That's a bit of me in a nutshell, mate. So if you enjoy all of these things and connecting the dots of the mystery of consciousness and whatever the hell this thing is with we're in right now, please let me know, because I really enjoy talking about it. Anyway, hasta la vista, baby.